A lot of things happening lately. Most importantly, I am putting, well, as it relates to me in game dev specifically, as we get just really doing the old gods, if the title didn't already let you know, but Ath, random item stats, Eldritch, Parasite, Kana. But yeah, taking care of some main mechanics that I want going through. Otherwise, yeah, I might take a long, making the game I'm making right now might take a bit longer than I expected, but it's fine. Let's see here. Yeah, Eldritch, Parasite. Oh my goodness, I always lose where it is. And let us move on. So, could use all perks here at some point, but that will happen much later as we get into Eldritch, Parasite, random item, Kana, but I just realized I did not do a thing, but if something happens, I guess I'll just cut the video. But second light, strength, knowledge, and maybe Takshisan? But we'll see what actually happens. And we shouldn't have any custom events, and if we do, well, hey. I'll know if they're custom mysteries, because I did the same thing. Basically removing everything so that we have base game events, mysteries, so on and so forth. That being said, we will still use library notes, because you never know, but we didn't get anything, so never mind. And off we go. So, as the Parasite's through and we can't get any healing, not really much else to say if this is your first episode of this mini-series, even though the last one is episode 0. Yeah, just know we're doing Eldritch, Parasite, Kana. That's the first and foremost thing to say. Metamorphosis, coma, footage, arms, nails. So, I guess we take arms first. Because of boss mysteries. We could use Shadow Shroud, not really to my liking. But the main point is that we're looking for Mind Drain and or Ghostly Spear, and if we can get either one of those, we just move on with our lives and see what we can do. Because these are essentially free casts. So the thought process or thought experiment or practical experiment is that you know, let's see how many times we succeed with Kana and Eldritch Parasite using this strategy. Because, well, if you're doing it regularly, I think you're taking a bunch of Doom, and if you're not doing this on Harbinger difficulty specifically, nice 12 roll by the way, game. But yeah, it is really, really good. Don't let my thumbnails look like they're baiting you. I mean, there is a lot to say, and there is a lot of nuance, but if I were to look at what happens a majority of the time, I think you're still going to experience some difficulty. Now, that being said, the easy part is when you get into an encounter, because you can just do this. If I were more efficient, I would be doing improvise. The reason why you do improvise is so you get a free item, whether to throw away in a mystery for a side quest, or to actually throw at an enemy, or use it as a weapon for whatever reason. Especially if you run into, say, double encounters or ghosts, where severing is a bit more, well, never mind. For ghosts, it doesn't matter. You know why it doesn't matter? Because you can just mind drain a ghost anyway. But the other part of it is, yeah, when you run into double encounters, you can't use your damage spells on the second enemy, which leaves you with either kicking or a weapon that you pick up. Or in the case of you being able to improvise Ghostly Spear, hey, but that's a bit of that is one of the nuances, and I don't think it's too accurate to a large majority of your runs. Yes, you could have Flood, but either way, you're saving a lot of Doom and Flood anyway, if you're specifically playing Kana, as we roll a 10 on Charisma. So you're not worried about Doom anyway, because the Doom that you spend in Flood is likely going to be a lot lower, very, very likely to be a lot lower, than the Doom you take just dying to the boss, because you don't have a weapon to hit the enemy B with. And that's all I have to say. So there, all we really did was lose 3, or Doom increased by 3, and we're pretty much in the middle of our second mystery with 20% Doom. Now, this can quickly shoot up, but until that moment, where we don't have much to worry about. I'm just going to do the forest because I'm going crazy. I know I don't have Vigil, I'm pretty sure, so we can just set it anywhere. Although I should have looked for the high threat level location. That's the piece of advice I would like to give to you. But otherwise, as we're semi-memeing around here, M-E-M-E-I-N-G, yeah, the pain comes from the events. That's the other half of the equation that we're looking at. Because as many encounters as you run into, and yes, alright, Devil's Advocate against myself. When you run into enemies like the Meat Horror here, which I think this is my second encounter, it is very painful on Eldritch Parasite if you're not a combat-focused character, which means you end up taking a lot of Doom anyway. So, minus maybe 2 enemies, the rest of the enemies you fight, you're probably gonna lose stamina or reason, and then, if you're Kana, get Doom. If you're another character, you just lose the run, so again, it's a little, you know, it's a balancing act. And I won't deny that most of the time you'll come out winning. If I said the opposite earlier, I apologize. Never mind, we have footage, by the way. But we have nails for now, so it's fine. We can swap the police patrols with the forest, and yeah, we'll find out what happens. But still, I think a good, like, at minimum 30% of the time, but I want to say like 40% of the time, things can still go very, 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 very wrong. Now, that being said, we do have the monument. You can't use it right now, because you die if you use the monument, and you go down to 0 stamina or reason as Kana. Call that a bug if you want. It's just what happens, so shrug. Now, there is still the Kana trick you can do, in which you can enter an all encounter and eat it in the face so you don't lose as much Doom, but that didn't happen. I mean, it could have happened in Metamorphosis, but I didn't do that, so... We are going to use the monument once, really quickly, if you didn't hear in the first video. I explained it in episode 0, but here we'll explain it again. So the reason you use the monument, you might be asking, well, Jordan, if you go down to 0 stamina or reason anyway, doesn't the monument lose you more Doom? Yes, in the case in which you lose enough, or you get an extra 5 Doom increase again. But if you use the monument, but only end up dying once anyway, then you save Doom, if that makes any sense. And the reasoning behind that is, again, we'll explain here just really quickly as we autopilot here. So say you have 10 Doom as Kana, but you lose 8 Reason. Or say you effectively are going to be losing 10 more Reason in the run. And as Kana, you essentially would have 17 Reason left in the whole run, because if you lose 7 Reason, you take 5 Doom. Then essentially what you should be doing is using the monument, because it asks for 2 to 3 Reason, and since you don't lose 14 Reason overall, you don't take the extra Doom, so you might as well decrease Doom in the same amount of Reason than if you had lost 7 Reason anyway, and then you have like 4 Reason at the end of your run, if that makes any sense. I think that's a better way to explain it. So if you have 4 Reason at the end of your run, you might as well have visited the monument, and if it asks for Reason, great. You decreased Doom, and you didn't need to do anything else. That's essentially all I'm saying. By the way, yes, we do have handcuffs. What I could do is kick into an improvise and then handcuff, but I think we'll be okay. So I think I said, I forgot what was my second encounter. Well, anywho. That being, we're on our 4th mystery with 41% Doom, and even if we die twice again, we should be fine. If we run into an all enemy, I promise you, we're going to make the most use of it. With a very, very weird juggling state, but you'll see in a hot moment if I end up doing so. If not, well, you don't get to see anything cool. So into, I think, yeah, footage. Probably footage, yeah. Footage in Tacoma. And let's see what happens. Funny enough, I hope I run into the Dream Eater enemy. That will be what I wish would happen. But let's see. We already went into Miku, so we can't run into Miku, but... we'll see what happens. I should actually, no, because the mansion's maxed out at level, we'll take more, well, we'll break even on Doom while probably running into the Rumu Ghost, but we're just gonna walk boldly through this forest, which is thankfully at high threat level only. And we did run to, so yeah, what we do here is, if you haven't seen it before, essentially you purposely die here as Kana, so you only lose 5 Doom, because say I one-shot the Dream Eater with Ghostly Spear here, with infinite cast of Ghostly Spear, then, say I run into a Reason event, I lose 5 Doom, or Doom increases by 5, then I die to Stamina, Doom increases by another 5. So I might as well, I take 10 Doom overall, where if I just sit here and let things happen, I'll even just improvise, just to prove the point. If I sit here, I only take 5 Doom, which saves me 5 Doom. So, something very specific you can do, and that is to Kana's benefit. But otherwise... we kind of just sit here and do our best. Now, again, we could improvise, but that yanks me to the item screen, and I don't want to risk taking unnecessary damage. If you can do it, do it. If you can't, I think that is by far one of the top 3 most, quote-unquote, top 3 most challenging things to do in World of Horror. Period. So yeah, there, I mean, we wouldn't have died to Stamina, but you get the point. My Stamina would be at 1, my Reason would be at 1, and now we're just sitting here wondering if we're going to take 5 Doom and then take an extra 5 Doom. And I'd be at 64% Doom, as opposed to just right now being at 60% Doom. Charisma. Well, and there we would have died to Stamina. So, point stands, for now anyway. In fact, we died to Stamina, so, hey... things. Now we could end up dying to the lighthouse as well, but hey. And at this point, as you may notice, but I'll say it here, taking all damage here would not make any sense because we're topped off on Stamina and Reason as Kana. And to really, really simplify for those who are really, really new, essentially if you're Kana and you have the Mind Drain and or Ghostly Spear spell, you're going to just use both of those spells until an enemy dies. The one exception is a double encounter. Say you run into double nurses in the hospital, then you'll realize, hey, I can't hit the second nurse, and that's when you need to kick the second nurse, or hit the second nurse with whatever weapon you may or may not have. And if you don't have a weapon, you need to kick. That's what I'm trying to say. Anywho. This is a very, very easy run, basically. That's what I'm trying to get out. I won't deny that most of the time you'll be free to do whatever you want. But as we're sitting, let's just assume we're at like 87% Doom right now. So yeah, this is when it gets close. I think most of it is the events, and with more event knowledge, or if you're not me and you can actually remember most of the events, you'll do a lot better. But me, on the other hand, keeping in mind that none of these healing items are going to help us, but hey. We have quick thinking, just take that. We could lower Doom if we rolled a 1 or 2 on Perception, or 3, I think. Doesn't matter, because we're not attacking anyway, so funny enough, unless we run into double nurses, that will be the day. Thankfully it wasn't, but hey. And again, if I so choose, so again, you have to calculate things if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty here. If I think I'm going to take more than 5 reason damage somewhere, and then die to stamina right after, then I might as well let myself get hit by this enemy, which, again, makes no sense because I'm already topped off on stamina. So there's no point essentially refreshing our staminas. That's another way to think about what you're doing with Kana. That you're refreshing your low stamina and reason if they are low. If they're high, then you want to decide whether or not, okay, is it worth it? Probably not if your stamina and or reason is high, but again, you get the point. That hurt a lot, by the way. And again, this run should not be as close as it looks, but it is, because, well, I'm me. So, as we take the 3 reason damage here, we're probably going to take... If we don't level up here, we're probably going to take upwards of 6 stamina damage. Probably only going to take 3, really? And we'll find out. Again, I forgot. I want to say it was... I forgot, anywho. My second encounter. Light, by the way, in Tachi-san, maybe? Do we have Tachi-san? No, we don't have the 6th floor. So... we're taking 3 stamina damage. We have 8 strength, thankfully. We don't have a light source, so we are going to take 5 doom, by nature of being Kana. But after that, we should be relatively fine. Also, yes, the soft drink Kana doesn't do anything for you either. I forgot. I think it was the meat horror, funny enough. Yeah, because we took Metamorphosis first, which sounds weird, but... Or did we? Or did we take arms? I think we took arms first. Yeah, we took arms first. We fought nothing in arms, or we fought one thing in arms and didn't fight anything until the boss of Metamorphosis. That's why I bamboozled myself for a moment. But as you can see here, again, I'm pretty much using an infinite as Kana, and I nearly died. So, I wouldn't say nearly, unless I hit like 98%. But this was still a run in which should have been a lot easier. But yeah, without further ado, we have at least 2 more episodes of this, and I will see you in the next episode. Should have come out with the mod pack things, but I'm doing stuff in real life, so yeah, without further ado, not going to take much more of your time. If anything else, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!